Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Two Moms and Some Labels. Two Moms and Some Labels is a platform for parents and caregivers caring for a child with a disability to come together in a shared space to network, commune, and just share and gain ideas on how to persevere through challenging times. My name is Brittany, and today I have a special guest with me. We are going to talk all about mental health, holistic wellness, and just taking care of yourself and your child, and really just standing up for the type of care that you feel that your child, your family deserves, and being an advocate for your family. And so I want to go ahead and introduce my guest, or I'll let her introduce herself. Go ahead, Miss Shelia.
Hi, I'm Shelia Heard, and I live in Tupelo, Mississippi. And I help get to the root cause of illnesses using natural means, herbs, essential oils, breath work, teaching you how to eat correctly, getting to those foods that's going to feed those cells. And I'm very spiritual, and I have a spiritual background with it.
Okay. And what is the name of your business?
Altogether Wellness.
Okay. And so, can you tell us a little bit about your business and how you got started?
Well, I got started. Well, I really had been working it before I got started. But I really got started when my youngest daughter first got sick. It was her senior year in college, and she kept having problems with her stomach. And she almost didn't graduate. I'm like, something else is going on. They missing something. But she got better and graduated, and I didn't think no more about it until she started college. And she was complaining about her eyesight. And I was on active duty at the time. So I said, well, I'm finna go home. So let's go home and go to the eye doctor. So we came home. She went to the eye doctor and he just gave her some glasses. So I went back to my duty station and I said, well, she kept complaining about her eyesight even more. I said, well, go to the eye doctor here. And he said, there's a problem. And so he sent her to see the neurologist. And the neurologist told me not only is she losing her eyesight, but she's going to start to lose mobility in her arms and legs. At this time, she was 19. And so then a year after her, my son was 19 when he was diagnosed, and he was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. And then a year after him, my youngest son died, and he was charged with his death. And I had faced the problem of both of my children getting the medicine when they needed it the most. And I had said I was not going to fall in that situation again. So I had to do something different to be able to combat that. So that's how I started the holistic route, trying to help them naturally as much as I can. But while on that journey of helping them, I realized I was helping myself. And not only that, I realized how, because I'm very spiritual, how everything is all tied together, how we are all unique and everything matters. What we eat, how often we sleep, when we sleep, the environments we put ourselves in, everything matters. Even the thoughts that we think.
Mhm.
Being angry all the time, that's not good for our bodies. You set in illnesses when you do that. Because see, the motto should be spirit, mind, and body, and in that order. Because when you put the body first, that's when you get disease and illnesses. And then if you put the mind first, that's when you get mental illness. And if you just put that spiritual first, everything else will fall in line.
Yes, yes, I agree. You know, putting everything into a positive mindset, thinking positively, it gets you into a better space. And I feel like those spirits, it really helps for whatever it is that you are dreaming and thinking of and planning and saying that you're going to get done or want to get done. Those things, they start to happen when they are supposed to happen, because you are being positive, you're giving positive energy to the world, and you get energy from the space around you, your environment, like you said, and your body. It's from top to bottom. You have to have that positive energy and those positive thoughts, because it makes it very difficult to function every day. And like you said, talking about the medication when you were talking about that, because I was actually talking with my co-host about medicine because we were going to talk about how it's very hard, especially for people of color, to be able to get the medications that they're supposed to be getting, for insurance to even pay for it, or doctors to give them the prescription for it. And we were trying to figure out, why is there such a big gap between certain colors of people being able to get the medications that they need to have. And just hearing your story, it just brings it to the forefront that this is really a problem that is really going on in our community. And to figure out how parents and families can be able to change this narrative that's going on, that's really important. So, what are some steps, or what are some things that parents can do that are having a hard time getting medication? How do you suggest that they navigate those types of situations?
Well, first thing I say, you need to learn your body. Learn your children's body. That's the first and foremost thing right now, because that's gonna tell you what you need. We have to learn how to pay attention to our bodies, and don't go and just grab medicine. You go to the doctor, they give you medicine. A lot of times they don't even know what's wrong. They're just giving you some medicine and hoping that it cures it. Then you have to end up going back to the doctor when it didn't work.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. So we got to learn how to pay attention to our bodies, educate ourselves on when those signs and symptoms come up, so we can know what to do when we need to do it. See, the things about herbs and essential oils, it's about taking less more often. Is you may have to take it like every 30 minutes for like the first 2 days, or like the first couple of hours or something. You just have to give it its due diligence. You got to give it time to work. Yes, when you take medicine, it may work a little bit quicker, but you got to look at the long haul as well.
Yeah.
And then you got to think about, what have I done? I mean, have I been getting proper sleep? Have I been drinking water? Have I been doing any exercising? We got to think about all these things, because when you give your body what it needs, it will thrive, because of what it is. Those cells are being depleted. That's just like you have a car, you put oil in your car. If you don't put oil in your car, you're going to have problems. It's the same thing with your body. It's the exact same thing with your body. You got to put good stuff in to get good happenings with your body. That's just the rule of thumb. We have to start taking care of ourselves, because we cannot take care of our loved ones if we're not taking care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Your children are watching you.
Mhm.
When they sit up and talk about this runs in the family, yes, it runs in the family because you're doing the same things. You got to change those things. If you know you high blood pressure, okay, you got to do something different. You got to start eating different. You got to start doing things differently. Because one thing that I became aware of about our Black men and the high blood pressure medicines is certain medicines our Black men cannot take, because it's going to mess with their libido.
Wow.
And see, a lot of them don't know that. They
Yeah.
don't care. They just going to give it to you. Now they having these issues and they don't know why. This is why, because this is not good for Black men. There are other medications that you can take for that, but then also too, there are natural things that you can do for that too.
hmm So, how can we get the education out to families, and let them know that they have options, and they don't have to go with the first thing that the doctor says that you need to do? Because I feel like a lot of times too, um, parents are afraid to speak up, or they think that because it's a doctor that they know what is right, and they know everything, and what they say is the best thing to do, and they don't go and get a second or a third opinion, or they don't go and research and find out what some alternative medicines or healing properties or ways that are out there to be able to help them with their situations, because there's just like a fear. There's a fear there,
Mhm.
especially for families of color, when they want to go an alternate route, especially more holistic. So
Well,
How can we how can we support?
some doctors are embracing the fact about nutrition. See, this is something they're not taught in school. I think they trying to start putting it in their curriculum now, but
Okay.
some doctors just shuns it anyway. They don't even want to. But you do have some who's embracing it, and you do have some that go and learn about it so they can better help their patients.
Mm-hmm.
But the overall, I'm working on a book now, telling you like what when you're lacking vitamin A, what your body is doing and what you need to do. I'm working on that book now, but you can always go to my Facebook group if you want to learn some things, because that's
Okay.
where I try to get people together and just see what's going on with you and see what concerns you have and address those issues.
So how can we help people to become better advocates for themselves and educate them on their options and when they go to the doctor, or when it comes to anything about their health
You
and
just
nutrition.
you're just gonna have to get with somebody like me who's trying to do this and put it out there. I mean, there are some people out there who's
Hmm.
trying to who's trying to educate people and get it out there. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you can buy books, you can read up on it yourself, but a lot of times you need support. Because a lot of times I have, even the groups that I have, we all talk with each other and come back with each other.
Hmm.
So yeah, so support is a very big thing, because it's kind of hard when you trying to eat right and you going out and everybody else and ain't nobody concerned about eating right with you. But
Yeah.
see, you're gonna have to learn how to be able to combat that. And
Hmm.
then, like with your children, you can give them sweet stuff to eat that's healthy for them, and it's not going to damage your body.
Yeah.
But just like what I did not know is like my granddaughter, she had eczema, and it comes from the stuff that we're eating.
Hmm.
It comes from the stuff that we're doing. Sometimes the environment can, because I know when she went to California, she didn't have those issues. But when she came
Yeah.
back here, those issues started back. So sometimes you just have to know your environment and know
Yeah.
your body.
Yeah. And I know, just like especially for families in the special needs community, a lot of us, like my daughter, she has seizures. So, it's like she has to be on a medication to help control them. And you want to make sure that you're getting the right medication that is not going to be causing extra side effects or interfering with anything else you have going on with your body, and being able to tell the doctor, no, I don't want this medication. I want this one
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
it's X, Y, and Z. I've, researched and looked, and it's more benefits, or it's less side effects, or, less chance of it interfering with other things. I think that's important for parents to go in knowing those types of things and researching that, to have that information with them. But the problem is, again, like I was saying, a lot of parents are not doing that, and they're just going with the first thing that the doctor says. And especially when it comes to serious things like that, like having seizures and you need something to help control it, what advice would you give a parent that is going through that type of situation where they have to have this medication, but it's not possibly the medication that they want their child or themselves to be on, because of the different side effects, and they want to go with another option? How would you suggest that they advocate for their child?
Well, sometimes what I have learned is sometimes, see, doctors don't like for you to tell them things sometimes. You
Mm.
have some doctors that are like that. And for me, if I have a doctor like that, I would have to find me another doctor.
Yeah.
I would have to find me another doctor, because see, that's just like with my daughter, with her illness. No, we had researched some stuff and we took some things to him, and he embraced everything we told him. Everything, even though it didn't work for her though, but he embraced everything and he said he would try whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of doctor that you want.
Yeah.
You don't want no doctor who you can't tell nothing to. He's not open. That means he's that, to me, that seems like they're not willing to do what's best for their patients.
Mhm.
'Cause I don't understand, why would you not want to try something if it may work for your patient and it's not, and you're not going to do them any harm. I don't
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I just rather go and get another doctor.
And, and then, too, talking big about the diet, your nutrition too, because a lot of times when children do have seizures, then they recommend changing up the diet to be able to help with that. So with your program, do you help? I know there's like the ketogenic diet that a
I
lot
don't
of
do any special particular diet. I just go by the patient.
okay,
I just go by them, because
okay.
every diet is different for every person.
Yeah.
It's just like this person may be allergic to, can eat gluten, but this person over here can't.
Mm,
See, some people can do without meat in their diet, and some people need meat in their diet. So it's just an individual basis. Is no one approach fits all. And
yeah.
so that's one of the things that traditional medicine does. If you say this person got diabetes, you treat them all the same.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
everybody don't need that one particular thing. It
Yeah.
has to be individualized. As I say, we are all unique.
Yeah.
All things matter.
So in your program, how do you go about figuring out what's the right profile or the right you know, health plan for your patient? How does that work?
We go over their history. We go over their history to see what has worked for them, see what haven't worked, see what they have tried, and just go over there, touch on their family history, and just see what'll work for them. Because when you talk to them and they tell you their story, you will
Mhm.
pretty much know which way to go. Whether or not that they need to test for something. Some things you can. So I try to take the less approach for the money that they would have to pay. If I don't have to test, I won't test unless they want to test. So
Mhm.
some things that you can just tell by, like say for instance, you may be having problem. Um, which one? You may be fatigued or something. You may be low on vitamin D. So I'm saying, you go to the basics first. You
Mhm.
go to the basics first, and then you go from there. You try this on the basics first. If that's not working, then we'll try something else.
And so, like, what is the typical follow up? How do you keep the patient accountable for themselves?
Oh yeah, we have to check in on a weekly basis,
Okay.
or it depends on them for how often they need that follow up. It depends on where they are in their life. It depends on, a lot of times too. It depends on whether or not they're putting in the work.
Yeah. And so how do you make sure that they're putting in the work? How do you
Well,
know
see,
if
I go with that when we first have initial consultation, because if you're not willing to do the work, that means you're not ready.
yeah.
That means you're not ready.
And so what are some different type of like plans that you have or services that you offer?
Well, like I said, it just depends on where they're at and what they want. 'Cause I have different programs. I have 3 month program. I have 6 month program.
Okay.
I have a 12 month program. It just all depends on where the person is at, and you know where they want to get to.
Okay. So you'll do nutrition, health and wellness. Um
Breath work if they need it. Yeah, breath work if they need it. I kind of dab into auricular therapy, but I don't too much like to touch into that too much. That's not my genius zone.
okay.
I may work on that a little bit more. But yeah, breath work, functional nutrition, because getting to the root cause, that's my jam right there. And getting people to understand about themselves, understand why you're going through this, what you're going through. Because if you got to be aware of what you're doing to yourself in
Mhm.
order to get to the next level. You got to become aware. So that's the first piece right there, is awareness. It's that mindset piece.
Yeah. And how do you talk to someone to try to get them on the right path and encourage them to stay on the right path? Because like you said, I I have a family relative now and I'm like, you're going down the same path that your mom went down, and she had all of these heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, like you're having all the same things that she had, and you are not making the correct lifestyle changes, and you see, how things had ended, for your mom, and it's like, do you want the same things for you? How do you sit down and talk with someone to encourage them to make those lifestyle changes? Because it can be hard to,
Mhm.
sit
It's
down
what
and
you just said.
actually
It's
change
exactly what you
your.
just said. You take them down that road right there. Now, let's imagine if you did this right here, what your life would be like and how would it change for you?
Mhm,
And then you ask them, so how would you like to see your life, such and such down the road? And take them down that journey. And now then you tell, so how do you expect to get there if you continue in right here? How long have you been right here? What you doing now? And how has it served you?
mhm,
And see, a lot of times they, like I said, they just don't be ready to make that move. They so comfortable in that. A lot of times they really can't see the forest for the trees.
mhm.
That's what you're trying to get them past those trees to see beyond those trees and let them know that it's possible for them. But you're going to have to do something different. It's going to have to change. You're going to have to do something different, and you're going to have to be the one to do it.
Yeah. And I think it's so important, especially for this community of parents and caregivers, because a lot of us will be taking care of our children forever, and we
Yes.
forget about our own health and your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health. All of those matter, um, because it's a long journey,
Oh yes.
and and
No.
and for me, like, it's physical and it's mental, it's all of those, and I need to make sure that my body is able to sustain the things that I have to do to be able to service or provide for my child. And a lot of times we forget about that because we get so stressed with just everyday life and things that go on, and we don't think about our bodies and our mental health. And like you said, if we don't take care of ourselves first,
Mm-hmm.
then who's going to take care of us? How are we going to be here to take care of our children? And sometimes it's hard to be like, oh, I need to take care of myself, and but no, I need to take care of my child. And I feel like I was a time where I was like, everything was my child, my child, my child. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't care, how fatigued I was, or not healthy with my diet and eating, and even like working out and stuff, until I was like, oh my gosh, I looked in the mirror at myself and I was like, I'm going down this path that's
Mm-hmm.
going to put me in disease, that's going to put me in, the inability to be able to continue lifting my child because they need to be lifted and transferred. And it took a long time to say it's okay for me to take the time to myself, to take
Mm-hmm.
care of myself, to take those days out and say, no, I can't do this. I can't go to that therapy today. I cannot, sit and do this with you today because I need to take care of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important for a lot of parents and caregivers to understand that it's okay and it's necessary to say, I need that time for myself.
Yeah, and sometimes it's okay for you to ask for help. A lot of times you
Oh,
don't want
yeah.
to ask for help. But then also too, what I had to understand and realize, it's okay for me to be happy, even though I know my child is in that situation. But it's okay for me
Yeah.
to be happy. I mean, you have to do that and do it without guilt because your life is separate from theirs. See, what happens is we end up letting our life become their life.
Yeah.
That's what happens. And then sometimes you may have to network with somebody, to just to watch them while you go and do something for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, in your community, you if you have to form a little group where y'all can do that for each other. Because I
Yeah.
know for for my son, it was so funny. I got him to meditate, and he said it made a difference. And then like I had put some essential oils in his room one night. I said, how'd you sleep at night? He said, I slept pretty good.
Yeah.
So those things do work, but you have to work it.
Yeah.
Because
And
sometimes he'll leave out that door and I know he's in psychosis. Honey, I just pray to God, put it in God's hand, and I go to sleep. And
yeah.
he'll come right back through that door every time. But I have to do that every time because
Mhm.
there's some parents who don't even know what their loved one is. And I don't want to phantom having had to go through that. I'm wondering, is they okay? Because I have an auntie who's been missing for years and we don't know where she's at.
Goodness. Yeah.
As I tell anybody, you got, God made a difference in my life.
Mhm.
He makes a difference in my life because my son, he's doing good. He's been doing good for a while now. And he understands now. I don't want to go to jail, so you better go take this medicine.
Yeah.
And I said you got to keep taking it at least until I can find something to see if you can be without medicine because you can't
Yeah.
just be without it. So
Mhm.
I'm still working on that process too because everybody can. Some may have to be on it, but everybody, all of them don't. But
Yeah.
it's just a process. And you got to work the process.
And so why or I guess that yeah, why do you think that it's important that we as parents advocate for our children or our loved ones?
If I didn't advocate for my son, I don't even believe he would be here.
Mhm.
Because when that incident happened with my son, I believe it was their intention to throw him away.
Mhm.
But see, they refused a order. They turned down an order. I had a pickup order, and they did not honor it. And so I had to go on TV and tell that story because only people were saying was, "How was she raising them?" And they couldn't, and they acting like that they didn't know the story
Mhm.
until I went on there and I told the story because they didn't know. I had a
Yeah.
judge to tell me one time off the record, of course, he said he heard about that story, but he didn't know he had no mental illness.
Mhm.
See what I'm saying? So we have to advocate for them. And actually, we really have to be there for them
Yeah.
because just like right now, he feel like he don't have nobody in the world but me.
Mhm.
So that's one of the things I'm working on, try to build a community for him and people like him, so they can come together and understand how to combat that out there in real life.
Yeah. And then I would also even say too, that it's important for parents or caregivers to document whenever you have for everything that's going on, especially when you are going to the doctor or having encounters with if you had to have an encounter with the law enforcement or anything of that nature, just document everything. Get you a journal and just document if there's behaviors or something going on, document everything and what you did to help the situation or try and help the situation, or if they had a medication, what the effects were. Just document. I would just say document because you never know when you might need that documentation and or have to tell your story like you had to be able to prove that your child is where they need to be and the reasoning behind different actions and things, which is, sad that we have to go to those extents. But
Oh
I
yes, we
think
do.
that I think that it's important to document everything and keep you a little journal of everything.
Yeah, that's a long journey because
Yeah.
'cause I remember one time he was suicidal. I called them. They supposed to call me back. Nobody never called me back. I mean, it's just crazy. His medicine is due. You don't have his medicine. I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy. You see, it seemed like they forget that you forget the demographic that you're dealing with. They don't have time to wait for y'all to get y'all stuff together. They're
Mhm.
steady getting worse. And
Yeah.
so then now the worst has happened. Now you want to deal with them. And your way of dealing with them is just locking them up, and they still ain't getting the help they
Yeah.
need.
And so is there like a helpline or any type of like assistance that can help families?
Not here where I am, because when my son had died, a friend of mine, when she was in Minnesota, and she said, "Well, find you a support group there," and there was none. There was not a group. I called Nami out of Jackson, and he told me, he said, "I see what your problem is. There is no help there." I
Mhm.
said, "You're right. It's no help here."
Goodness. And so, that's why it's so important for families to have that support group
Mhm,
and places to have support groups. And that's why we do this too, because you need support, you need people, you need a group of
mhm,
people to help you navigate systems, because it's a lot to these systems, and what you may have been through another person is going through, what you may be experiencing, somebody else is experiencing the same thing, and maybe they have answers or suggestions on how to go about dealing with whatever you experience, because they've done it before. They maybe know someone that is doing the same thing. So it's important to be able to have
mhm.
groups and to reach out to people. And like you say, don't be scared to ask for help, to ask for support. Um,
And if
and
you don't have that support or that help there, create your own.
yeah,
Your own.
yeah.
Because
And so,
I always say, what is the alternative?
right.
I always say, what is the alternative?
Yeah. And and then speaking of groups too, and you were saying about like getting a group and having somebody to help so you can get that break. I was talking to a parent and they were saying that they don't mind helping, and they don't want money or anything like that. They want to reciprocate services. Like if you need a date night or something with your significant other, or you just need time out, then I will come and, help you, and then just reciprocate that service for me when I need that break.
Mhm,
And I mean, I know sometimes it's hard because a lot of people, they just don't trust everybody with their kids and stuff like that. But that's the importance of
mhm,
networking, getting out to meet people and know them, and not just on one occasion, just building that relationship to be able to establish that connection with that person, and gain that trust. So get out and look into support groups in your area. And like Sheila said, if they don't have one, then you make your own. You
mhm.
make your own and you reach out. And that saying, they say the squeaky, what is it? The squeaky wheel always something, however that saying goes. You gotta speak up and you have to be heard. If that resource is not there for you, then you need to go and
This is where you would think that churches would be able to come in and help.
yeah.
But
y-
that's not the case. That's why I say you got to do it yourself. There
yeah.
are some people that may be at the church who may be willing to help, that you may be able to trust, that'll do something like that, maybe for a couple of hours so you can go,
Yeah.
do something for yourself. But one thing too that I want to stress too is that a lot of times, see, you may have other children as well,
Mhm.
and you can't ignore them,
Yeah.
because guess what? They are going to start acting out. And then guess what? Just like you're going through, they are going through too. And
Yeah.
then if you have a significant other, they are going through too. So don't think it's just you going through it by yourself, especially when you were in the same home.
Yeah.
See, that's where you got to have that family cohesion coming in.
Mhm.
They say sometime in the house, the family members can do different things to help out. Because just like with me, was it well with my daughter? See, I had all males. It was always pretty much on me, as far as changing her and bathing her and stuff like that. But you can go in there, and talk with her, do some things with her, try to get her to come out her room, because she did not want to come out her room for nothing. Just go outside and sit on the porch. So there are some things that can be done to, like help everybody feel like they are contributing, and like their feelings matters as well, because
Yeah.
that's important
Yeah.
too, especially when you have smaller children.
Younger children, or they get to that middle age where it's like they're trying to find themselves, they're trying to learn who they are, they're becoming, they're becoming a young adult, and
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to figure out how to be able to deal with everything going around in their environment, along with dealing with the changes that are happening within themselves. um so yeah, it's definitely important to sit down as a family and have that time, and make sure you let your kids express their feelings and their
Mm-hmm.
thoughts, and talk to them, because that's important, and you don't want them walking around angry, at the world, upset with themselves, depressed,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that, because they got all
Yeah,
this
that's how
emotion.
they're gonna grow up with that
Uh-huh.
anger. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very important. Do you service kids too, or just
Well,
adults?
I pretty much like to work with the parents when it comes to the kids to ensure that they're doing the things to help reinforce the things with them. Now,
Mhm,
some things that they want to talk about, not be around the parent. Yeah,
mhm.
I would do that as well. But when it was come to the kids, I like to have the parents involved.
Yeah. So yeah, making sure that, you guys, as everybody as a family unit, is taken care of, and you have that time to be able to talk, as a family, and get your feelings and thoughts out to one another, and figure out how you can work around all those different feelings and emotions and stuff like that. That's very important. And again, too, like, if you don't have the support services, then you got to get out and create your own. And if you got to knock on some city hall doors, and talk to your city hall members and the Senate, like, those are things that you have to do. Sometimes we have to do things that we're uncomfortable doing to be able to get to where we need to be, and
Mhm.
get the services that ourselves or our children or community needs to have. So don't be scared if you have to get out of
See,
your
also too,
comfort
see, it's just like me. Like with sometimes with day to day, you don't know what might pop off that day.
zone. Mhm.
But see, I have to have the mindset. Okay, I understand where he's at. So I can't meet him where he's at. I see what he's doing. I understand that he put all my chives on flat one time. But I say, okay, I know where he's at. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I can't go there with him. So I got to make sure I'm poised. I'm in control of
Right.
me to
Right.
be able to deal with what he's going through, to be able to support him, to be able to help him.
Yeah.
And that's very important too. You have
Yeah.
to remember, yes, this is a 28-year-old man, but he don't have that 28-year-old mind.
Right. Yeah. And I think, too, a lot of confusion, or where the discrepancy comes in when you go to the doctor, is that when we have our children and they are not at the cognitive or developmental level that they're supposed to be at, but once they're 18, it's like they feel like, because on paper it says this, that's what
Yeah.
they're supposed to be and do and all this, but
And it's
that's
hard to get them the help they need once they turn. And that's sad. It really is. I understand how it came about because they was doing things that they shouldn't have been doing, like they don't have rights. I understand that. But
yeah.
when you got somebody that's not in their mind, and they can, they have to be threatening to harm themselves or somebody else in order for you to do something. But knowing that if they don't go ahead and get some help, it's going to get to that point sooner or later. So
Mhm.
why wait till it get to that point? That's what I don't want.
Facebook group. So what is the name of your Facebook group?
Guardians of Health.
Okay.
Guardians of Health.
Okay. And then if somebody wants to make an appointment with you, how do they go about doing that?
They can go into the Facebook group, but I have a Calendly link too that I can give you.
Okay. And what's your Calendly link? Calendly link.
It's going to be Victory Beyond Limits.
What forms of payment do you take?
Um,
So is it only
do
like cash? Do you do any kind of insurance? Um,
They don't do insurance for holistic health. Hopefully they will one day. I'm thinking of a process that may work for that.
yeah.
that to work with them. I'm gonna try it and see, but for right now, they don't. But I think they are really looking more into it now because insurance have healthcare has gotten so expensive, so they're
Mhm.
gonna have to do something different.
Yeah.
This is getting so expensive. But yeah, I do PayPal, Cash App, and Stripe. Yeah, I do those.
Okay. So if you guys are looking to make some health changes, some nutrition, mental health, just whole total body healing, then please make sure that you reach out to Sheila and join that Facebook group too. I know I have really been on the health kick trying to get rid of a lot of things in our house that do not serve us,
Oh, it's a
serve our
lot.
body.
You got to put filters and stuff on your water.
Yeah,
You got
and the pots and pans and stuff, I've been
PEMF. You got to have that to lay on to combat all this 5G stuff. It's ugh.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, but you just have
So,
to do what you got to do.
yeah, I haven't even bought any sugar anymore. I told my kids, I'm like, "I'm not buying
Yeah, I got to go through my
sugar."
kitchen. I'm throwing out every canned good in there.
So, yeah,
Gotta go.
yeah. So if you guys are looking to make changes or you ready to start that journey, then please, or even if you just want more information on what holistic wellness is, and how it can really help you, please make sure that you join the Guardians of Health and reach out to Sheila to be able to make. Do you do virtual appointments?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So, yes, make sure that you reach out to her. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and making our audience aware of your options that are out there. You don't have to be stuck on a medication, prescription all your life. There's other options out there for you. Make sure you take care of your body, make sure you take care of your mind and your spirit. So please make sure you guys take care of yourselves. If you need help, you need support, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be embarrassed because we all need help, and we don't want to wait until the last minute to try to get that help that we need. So make sure you reach out if you're looking for any kind of resources or anything like that. I know that you can, private message me or email me, and I'm sure that you can message Sheila also too. So please reach out if you're looking for resources. That's why we are here. That's why we are doing the things that we are doing, because we want to improve the health and the mindset of our community, and we want to be here for the longevity of it all, and be able to help and serve our children. But we have to make sure we take care of ourselves first. So thank you again, Sheila, for coming on. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. All right. So until next time, we will see you all on another episode of Two Moms and Some Labels. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you soon.